NC State football will now turn the page to the Campbell Camels on Saturday. What should NC State really look to accomplish in this game?
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Thursday show is brought to you by Mazda. Like players, Mazda sweats out every detail because when every move counts, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned for later in this show for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. Happy Thursday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, we obviously are moving forward now following this Virginia Tech loss to the Campbell Camels. The Camels will travel to Raleigh, Carter Finley Stadium, 2 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Kenton, I'll make this nice and easy for you. The number one thing that you're looking forward to NC State doing on Saturday is what? Fill in the blank.
Trying. I'm not joking. I am looking for a great effort. I am looking for a team that comes out and plays like their hair is on fire. I am looking for a team that comes out and says, forget everybody but us. And replacing the word forget with another word that starts with F but rhymes with duck. Forget everybody but us. We are all we have in this locker room, and all that we have in this locker room is all that we need in this locker room to get whatever it is that is out there for us for the rest of the season. I'm looking forward to a team that is just going to try, because everything else stems from that. You are that much better than this Campbell team, to where if you are locked in and you are trying your best, a team that we beat the brakes off of them. So if you are locked in and doing what you are supposed to do, it should be a similar result. We should be able to rest our guys early. We should be able to say, all right, guys, we're shutting it down. Hey, young guys, get in there, do your thing. Second stringers, third stringers, get in there, do your thing. Come show us something. Show us something in the second half. But I'm looking for a team that tries more than anything else, because to me, the ultimate indictment would be if we win this game, but we win it without much effort. What do I mean by that? Without that intensity that you can feel early, without a palpable intensity, without a focus and a fervor that you can tell through the screen if you're watching at home, and you can hear it in the stadium if you're there. That's what I want to see more than anything else. And I know people are going to say, wow, the bar is in hell, a team that tries. But honestly, look at what a lot of teams have done against FCS opponents this year, where they've won the game by 40 points. But if you look at them early in that game, they just kind of, I'm just going to sleepwalk. We can't do that. Perfect example, if you watch Duke against Elon earlier this year, and I know I shouldn't be speaking negatively on Duke the way that they beat us by double digits, but I'm just saying, if you watch that game, you watch the first half, you could tell that team did not have that fire until the second half, where you could tell Elon was wearing down a little bit. Same thing here. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see, we got to wake up and figure out how to dominate Campbell. You know how, and you have the talent to. So do it early.
Yeah, first of all, I agree with everything you just said. And trying, although it sounds crazy, you got to understand exactly what Kenton is saying there. It takes a lot more than just showing up, despite who your opponent is, even if it is Campbell. And so for NC State, I guess I'll just piggyback off of that. What I'm looking for is damn near perfection. I'm looking for an NC State team that is so embarrassed by the way they have played the last 2 weeks, they come out and play a near flawless game against a lower level opponent. Campbell, by all accounts, including their record, they look to be about like a D2 football team this year. And so if you're NC State, despite your flaws, you have to exert your dominance in this game for 4 quarters. Hopefully this game gets away from Campbell, preferably before halftime. But for NC State, you have so many things to be working on in this game that it's not exactly a free pass. And I know I've been calling this a free space game, but NC State has not played well enough to just coast through this one. And there is a common opponent in ECU. I have a very important point on that in a couple minutes. But what I'm looking for out of NC State is to show up and exert exactly who you're supposed to be against a lower level opponent like this. You should be winning this game by 40 plus. You should be holding them to probably less than like 10 points, if we're being quite honest with you. This should be an all-out dominant 4-quarter effort, and it should serve as a lot of valuable reps for not just the first teamers, but second stringers, third stringers. You should see like almost like the whole roster. I know that sounds crazy. You should almost see the whole roster get onto the field in this game.
Yeah, I believe years and years ago in a game similar to this when we played at FCS team, Brady Bodine, a former roommate of mine, great guy. He's now a foot surgeon or a child surgeon, something like that. He does something along those lines. He got into the end zone. By the way, shout out to Brady. I know you're doing great things out there. But, you know, it's one of those things where, again, I don't want to see this game be one where we're sweating it out like we did against Western Carolina a couple of years, or last year rather, where the beginning of the game was like, wait, what's happening? Are they up? What is going? I don't want to see that. And that's what I mean by try. Because to be honest, even outside of the minor misses and the minor things that went wrong, there still was a genuine sense that that team felt entitled to that win. That team felt like, hey, we are going to dominate the Catamounts because we are here. I want to see a team that does not, want to show up and do it. I want to see a team that's pissed off. I want to see a team that's tired of hearing all of the voices, all of the outside noise and all that. And obviously, you cannot quiet those noises by beating Campbell, right? We just learned from Florida State. You can't, they beat up on East Texas A&M and I want to say FAMU or something like that, and then going to lose to Virginia. So you can't quiet the noises by winning against teams that, are objectively a level below you. But what you can do is set the tone and tenor for the rest of the way, because as I have said in the past, and as we have seen bear out in the past with Coach Dora coaching, all of the games ahead of us are winnable. And every one of them is losable, including to Campbell. I don't want to hear, oh, there's no way we lose to Campbell. Yeah, well, there was no way we lost to a team that could only stop Wofford's offense. There was no way we would lose to that team, right? Well, lo and behold, there was no way that team holds us to 21 points. Well, lo and behold. So every game is losable, including this game against Campbell, but every game is winnable as well. But the goal, the mission should be 1-0 every single day.
And I know a lot of people can get bent out of shape about these games against the FCS opponents. Like if we're not winning by 40 or 45 or 50, everybody's like, do we suck? Why couldn't we dominate this team for 4 quarters? This game, because Campbell, they're not only an FCS team, they're a bad FCS team. Like I just went through their schedule. I couldn't find the last time they've won more than just 6 games in a season. It was a lot of 3-9s, a couple 2-10s. They've been a bad FCS team for a really long time and off to a 1-4 start this year as well. So this is a team that NC State should drop the largest and heaviest of hammers. We're talking Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. That's what should happen on Saturday. So more on this in just a couple minutes. We're going to get into the season review of the Campbell Camels. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first Thursday sponsor is FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if it hits, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets guaranteed. Yes, that's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It makes football even more exciting when you've got a little something extra riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. FanDuel, play your game. Our second Thursday sponsor is Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of the home. Whether it's the sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted in the community for years, these businesses are what bring people together. And when businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. Middle portion of our Thursday show, now diving into the season review so far for the Campbell Camels. Our next opponent, this will be a 2 p.m. kickoff in Carter Finley on Saturday. As I told you, Campbell is not just an FCS team, but a bad FCS team. Campbell is currently 1-4 on the 2025 season. They began their season with a 31-20 loss on the road at Rhode Island. Week 2 was the common opponent. They traveled to Greenville. They played the ECU Pirates, a 56-3 loss. Put a pin in that. I'm coming back to it in just a second. Week 3, 28-24 loss to Furman. Week 4 was the lone win they have so far, a 50-48 double overtime win against the Browns. And most recently, last weekend, they actually lost to Western Carolina, 42-35. Now, that ECU loss, 56-3, that was actually the weekend after ECU played us in Raleigh, so perhaps they had a little something to get off of their chest. I want to caution NC State fans when you look at that score and when you look at Saturday, because I know how we're going to do it. We're going to say, well, if we don't beat them by 53, we suck. If we don't beat them by 53, I think ECU is a better team than us. That's not the case, and I'll tell you why. Now, should we win by 53? Absolutely. But I won't be surprised if we don't. Because when you're looking at Campbell here, they're not a very formidable opponent. NC State is now working on playing their 6th game in as many weeks. They have not had a bye yet. And the back half of the schedule, as we know, is a gauntlet for the Wolfpack. So I say all that to say, if we're being totally honest here, Hollywood Smothers, he probably shouldn't even play the second half. Maybe even CJ Bailey. I don't think it's a crazy thing to say that maybe Lex Thomas attempts more passes than CJ Bailey in this game. I'm serious. There's no reason for NC State to overexert our guys just to run up the score when it's not that necessary, when you have Notre Dame the weekend after Campbell. And then after that, you play Pitt, so on and so forth. So I want to caution people, if the score does not get crazily out of hand, don't freak out, because the rest of the season is far more important than running up the score on the Campbells.
Grayson's a lot kinder than me. This team is younger than both me and Grayson by a significant amount.
Look, they're bad. They're bad. Yes, they're bad.
And by this team is younger than us, I don't mean the players on the team. No. I mean Campbell football as an institution is younger than me and Grayson. I'm sure some of you are hearing this and having the same reaction that you would to Meredith having a football team. You would say, what? How is this possible? What is going on? But no, in all seriousness, this is a bad team. You should dominate. Yes. You should and this is why I said a team that tries and not a certain score differential. The reality is, I think that NC State could sleepwalk through the first half or so, and they could, yes. And we'd still win this game by 35 or 40. That's why, to me, the score differential does not matter. If we win this game by 56, and it's because, like Grayson said, Lex Thomas comes in and puts on the show. I mean, let's be honest, you can never count a Thomas brother out. That's a bad bet if you're wearing the red and white. But if we see this, this be absolutely we light up the scoreboard because our second and third string, our young guys are lighting them up, I'm not happy with that. I do not care about the score. I want to see a team playing like they're pissed off, playing like there's a fervor for greatness, a team that's saying, you know what, we have not tackled well all year. We're going to show it in this game. If we touch them, they're touching the ground. So, for me, it's not even so much about the score, but I do believe this is a team that you can sleepwalk through and still end up winning by 28 to 35 points. So that's what has me more than anything else, I need to see you win handily here because, again, and this is a true fact about that program that has only existed since 2008, they have only finished above 500 one time. And the one time they finished above 500 was because they only played 11 games. They were 6-5 that year. Okay? Other than that, you're looking at 7 games under 500, 5 games under for 3, 4, 5 years in a row, 9 games under 500, 5 games under, 1 game under, 3 games under, 5 games under. The one year they went over, And in 2020, the COVID year, they went 1-1, and then 5 games under, 1 game under, 3 games under, 6 games under last year. With all due respect, I ain't trying to hear it. I ain't trying to hear anything about, oh, well, this and that and the third. Give me a team that tries, because if this team tries, if this team goes out there with effort and focus, this game will be put away very early. This ain't Campbell baseball. This ain't that.
Yeah.
This ain't, this should be a put them babies to sleep and get the young boys in there and eating pretty early.
Yeah, I think it's a good point because, we've had some good games with Campbell baseball. We've even played Campbell a couple times in basketball. It's probably closer than it should have been as well. If this game of football is close, it is entirely more embarrassing than anything I just mentioned, because I said Campbell is comparatively a D2 football team this year. In fact, if you go on the ESPN SP metrics, if you lined up Campbell and Lenore-Rhyne, which is a D2 school, on a neutral field, Campbell would only be favored by about 1.5, 2.5 points. They're a D2 football team. This is a game that NC State should sleepwalk. Now, I don't want to see them sleepwalk unless they are up 40 plus in the second half. Then it is what it is. But there's no reason to get Hollywood injured, CJ Bailey injured. We've already had enough injuries on the defensive side, so you want to keep them healthy as well. But this should be a program win. You correct some of your flaws because, again, you should use this as a glorified practice. And I know that's a little bit disrespectful to Campbell, but sorry, Camels, it is what it is here. So NC State needs a get-right outing in every sense of the imagination. It just so happens that Campbell's on the schedule next. Coming up next, we're going to take a quick walk around the ACC to discuss how everyone else in this conference has been doing outside of just the Wolfpack. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our third Thursday sponsor is Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than just simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat out all the details. Mazda brings this very same intention into how they craft each and every model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Nappa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. All-wheel drive is standard in every crossover SUV, and you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like players, Mazda sweats out every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. And our fourth Thursday sponsor is Gametime. We're right in the middle of the college football season, and we simply could not be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just simply nothing like it. But let's be real. Sometimes actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. There's endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping off at checkout. But that's where Gametime comes into play. It's the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with zero surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. You can get that panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect upon arrival. And honestly, it's faster, it's cheaper, and it's far less stressful than any other ticketing platform. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets for the rest of this season with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, and again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege. LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Last couple minutes of our Thursday show. Figured we'd take a little bit of a walk around the ACC. It's been a couple weeks since we talked about the rest of the ACC outside of just us. So we'll start at the top. Currently 2-0 at the top of the conference stand Georgia Tech. They're also ranked 17th in the nation. UVA. The UVA Cavaliers are 2-0 in ACC play. They have also cracked the AP Top 25. They sit at 24. And the Duke Blue Devils sit at 2-0 as well. Kenton, talk to me a little bit about Georgia Tech and UVA. What have you seen from them that might show possibly they could compete for the ACC?
Georgia, well, both of these teams have backs that are extremely physical, but Georgia Tech is extremely physical overall. The only problem with both of these teams is I don't think either knows how to be the hunted instead of the hunter.
Agreed.
Prime example, Georgia Tech goes to Wake Forest and is fighting for their life and very honestly got the same call that screwed over NC State to save them in essence. Because if that offsides is called, that's it. That's it. I believe there was a minute 51 left in the game or something like that.
Roughly,
you just take a knee and you just kneel the game out. Georgia Tech didn't have any timeouts at that point in time. So, it's one of those things where Georgia Tech has to get used to being the hunted, get used to having a number by their name and playing up despite their competition being mid or worse. And Virginia, I mean, what can you say? Very explosive offense, high octane on the ground or through the air. Chandler Morris did not play his best game against Florida State, but those backs sure did play a good one. Those backs sure were hard to tackle. The same backs that gave us trouble tackling gave Florida State those same type of the Wahoo Blues, I guess you would call it. But they have played very good ball offensively. It's not a shock to see them in this position, especially because going into that game, I warned that game had trap written all over it for Florida State. Florida State was, a top 10 team on the road with a potential top 5 or top 10 rivalry game pending if they won that game. It was very easy to see where the trap game elements came in, and that's what it ended up being. But the question is, who is Virginia? Because we're still early enough in the season to say, maybe that wasn't a trap. Maybe Virginia is just better than Florida State, and maybe Florida State is actually good. Maybe Florida State's not good, and they tricked us the same way that some teams that beat them early last year tricked us. Who knows? So, it's still a lot to be seen there, but those teams being at the top, I mean, it took a little bit of oddity, but these are two coastal teams, and you can take the teams out the coastal, but you can't take the coastal chaos out of the teams.
I tell you what about Georgia Tech. Obviously, they're 5-0 overall. They're 2-0 in the ACC conference. I thought after they beat Clemson, I guess we can talk about Clemson too, RIP, stick a fork in them this year. But after Georgia Tech had beaten Clemson, I was looking at the rest of their schedule, and I'm like, I don't know if I see 2 losses. They almost lost against Wake Forest. They found a way to get it done. But again, now I'm looking at the back half of their schedule. They got Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse, us, Boston College, and Pitt, and the rest of the ACC play. They could win every single one of those games. So I think Georgia Tech is a team to definitely keep your eye on moving forward. Virginia, on the other hand, what did I tell y'all about Chandler Morris? I told y'all in January, all throughout the summer, the week before we played him, the kid can play. And he did throw 3 picks, but he also ran for 3 touchdowns against Florida State. He's one of the most electric quarterbacks in this conference, believe it or not. He's shown out up until this point. Transitioning over to Florida State, obviously they take that loss, but they will play against Miami this weekend. Who's going to come out of that one, Kenton? Do you think Miami gets it done, or does Florida State rise back up?
One team has Ruben Bain. The other team does not. The team with Ruben Bain wins this game because they have Ruben Bain. That kid has been an animal this year. That young man has wrecked offenses at a level that I'm like, I very seriously have not enjoyed watching a defensive end's film this much in quite some time. Against the run, against the pass, against double teams, against chips, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That he is out there eating offenses alive. And so I think that he does a good job here. And I think that Florida State has had the kind of veneer of like, hey, we're back cracked a little bit, And I believe that that Alabama win is because this is who Alabama will be under DeBoer. They will be a team that is going to beat some of the best in the nation, but they're going to lose some games that leave you saying, how? Last year, they lost to Oklahoma. They lost to Michigan, who could not throw the ball, and they lost to Vanderbilt last year. That's them. But you know what they also did last year? Beat Georgia.
Yep.
It keeps happening. It keeps happening. So there's something in the water in Tuscaloosa that when they see a mid-team coming, they're just like, they start shaking in their boots. The guys stay out all night till 3 a.m. the night before or something because, they just fall flat.
I am a little concerned that Florida State planted the we're back flag a little bit early because I think Miami, they might even stomp them on Saturday night. And if the Miami Hurricane defense is as real as it seems to be, and again, got to kind of hold your breath there because they usually melt at least once or twice a season, but I think Miami's going to keep them in check. I think Castellanos is not going to have a great game against Miami. I'm also taking Miami to move forward to 5-0 out of that one. Kenton, give me your biggest surprise team of the ACC so far, reaching roughly the midpoint of the season.
I mean, it has to be Clemson. It has to be Clemson because Clemson has not just been mediocre or mid. They've been flat out bad. They have trailed by double digits in every single game that they've played this year outside of LSU. Now, for reference, that includes the Troy Trojans. It took a 17-point comeback, or 16-point comeback, rather, to beat the Troy Trojans. Now, Grayson is a sicko like I am, so I'm sure he knows the answer to this question. But let me try asking him anyway. Grayson, tell me, where is Troy?
They're in Alabama.
Correct. A lot of people do not know that.
Yep.
A lot of people have no clue where Troy is. And yet that team was running it right down Clemson's throat despite having two guys that were predicted to be top 10 draft picks coming into this season. I'm trying to find what they do well. I really am. And I'm struggling. Right now, their ability to stop the run is not there. Their ability to rush the passer at a high level is not there. Their secondary and their ability to just lock up, just attach the guys and say, hey, you're coming with me, buddy. Don't worry about it. We got a seatbelt for you right here. You're not going to fly through the windshield. Is not there. Their ability to run the ball offensively has been spotty. That's been in and out. Their ability to pass the ball, Cade and the boys. What's going on?
Oof.
What's going on? So, it's really I'm deeply surprised by how bad they've been this season. And the unfortunate part about it is I cover the entire ACC with Locked On ACC. And one thing that I know, Clemson is one of those brands that when they're bad, the assumption is the entire ACC is bad.
Right.
And that's just what's happening there.
I don't know if many of us could have dreamed of Clemson's season being over in the month of September, but it's over. I mean, even if they win out, I still don't think they make it to Charlotte based on the tiebreak situation, assuming who will finish up there with them, but just bad. Can't throw the ball, can't run the ball. I'm shocked at how bad their defense has been. I know Dabo's been taking a bunch of heat, and he's basically saying, well, then fire me then. I'll go somewhere else. Crazy. You could be witnessing the end of the Clemson dynasty right here before your eyes. Last question around the ACC. How many teams will get into the CFP from the ACC conference?
Boy, that's a tough one. I see us with two bids. I wanted to say three, but the more I think about it, the more I say the loser of the Florida State-Miami game. If it's Miami, you've got a good shot. If Florida State is the loser, that takes it down. And by good shot, I mean good shot at three teams. Because you could get a situation where you have Georgia Tech or Louisville and Miami and Florida State in there, but you're not getting three if Florida State loses and if Louisville continues to play with fire the way that they've been doing, because they've had multiple games against lesser opponents where they've been do we want to win? Do we how sold are we on this winning thing? I mean, and plus we know Louisville is good for that one or two games a year where they forget how to play football, where you're just like, what was that? You're doing stuff you ain't done all year. So with that being said, if Georgia Tech performs well and they are competitive against Georgia, same with Louisville. If they perform well and competitive against – actually, no, they got to beat Kentucky. You can't be competitive against it. You got to beat Kentucky in that game. And if Miami continues on their path and goes undefeated or one loss, we can see three. I think anything more than that, that's pie in the sky. That's way too high of hopes. I think three is possible. I think two is our most likely scenario. I don't see a world where we only get one. I don't see that happening.
I'm in agreement with two. I think we will get two teams in. And as it stands right now, I think it's going to be Miami. I think it's going to be Georgia Tech. I think those two teams are going to see each other in Charlotte, and I think they're both going to move forward in the CFP as well. So that was a quick walk around the ACC conference. We like to do this from time to time to keep everyone else updated on things outside of the NC State Wolfpack, especially when it's been a little bit of a down week, if you will. So that was around the ACC. That will do it for us here on Thursday. As always, be sure to hit that like button, drop your comments in the comment box, mash that subscribe button if you have not already. Talk to us about Campbell, your thoughts on this upcoming game. 2 p.m. kickoff on Saturday in Carter Finley. Maybe do you expect to blow them out? Do you think it'll be close for reasons unexplained? Let us know your thoughts there. Anything else you have on your mind, drop that in the comment box as well. We'll see y'all tomorrow on Friday for more. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.